The Solitary Sage, Unraveling the Enigma of Wisdom and Isolation. In the annals of human history, we often find that the wisest among us have chosen to walk a solitary path, embracing a life of introspection and limited social interaction. This intriguing phenomenon has puzzled observers for centuries, prompting us to question the very nature of wisdom and its relationship to solitude. In this video, we will embark on a profound exploration of why wise individuals often seek refuge in the sanctuary of their own minds, and how this solitary existence can be a catalyst for personal growth and the cultivation of a deeper understanding of the human condition. At first glance, it may seem counterintuitive that those who possess great wisdom would choose to distance themselves from the very society they could enlighten and guide. After all, isn't wisdom meant to be shared, to be imparted to others for the betterment of all? While this notion holds true to some extent, it fails to capture the complexity and nuance of the wise person's journey. To understand the solitary sage, we must first recognize that true wisdom is not a mere accumulation of knowledge or a mastery of intellectual concepts. Rather, it is a deep, experiential understanding of the nature of reality, the human psyche, and the interconnectedness of all things. This type of wisdom cannot be acquired through superficial interactions or the noise of everyday life. It requires a profound inner journey, a willingness to confront one's own shadows, and a relentless pursuit of truth. In the solitude of their own minds, wise individuals find the space and tranquility necessary for deep introspection and self-reflection. They are able to step back from the chaos of the external world and turn their gaze inward, exploring the labyrinthine depths of their own consciousness. It is in this inner sanctuary that they can engage in the difficult work of self-confrontation, shedding the layers of conditioning, fears, and attachments that obscure their true nature. This process of self-discovery is not for the faint of heart. It requires a level of courage and honesty that can be daunting, even terrifying at times. The wise person must be willing to face their own demons, to acknowledge their weaknesses and limitations, and to embrace the discomfort of growth and transformation. In the crucible of solitude, they forge a resilient spirit and a clear mind, free from the distractions and influences of the external world. Moreover, the solitary existence of the wise allows them to cultivate a deep sense of inner peace and equanimity. They learn to find contentment and fulfillment within themselves, rather than seeking it in the fleeting pleasures and accolades of the outside world. This inner stability becomes a source of strength and clarity, enabling them to navigate the challenges of life with grace and wisdom. It is important to note that the wise person's solitude is not a rejection of human connection or a denial of the value of relationships. Rather, it is a conscious choice to prioritize depth over breadth, quality over quantity. The wise understand that true connection is not measured by the number of superficial interactions, but by the authenticity and vulnerability of the bonds we forge. In their solitude, the wise cultivate a profound sense of empathy and compassion for all beings. They recognize that the human experience is one of shared joys and sorrows, and that beneath the surface differences, we are all interconnected in a web of interdependence. This understanding allows them to relate to others with a depth and sincerity that transcends the boundaries of social convention. Furthermore, the solitary existence of the wise often serves as a powerful catalyst for creative expression and the birthing of new ideas. In the stillness of their own minds, they can access a wellspring of inspiration and insight that may be drowned out by the constant chatter of the world. They are able to see beyond the veil of appearances and tap into the underlying patterns and truths that govern the universe. This creative potential is exemplified in the lives of many great thinkers and artists throughout history. Henry David Thoreau, the renowned American philosopher and writer, famously retreated to the solitude of Walden Pond for 2 years, where he wrote his masterpiece Walden and developed his ideas on self-reliance and the importance of simplicity. Similarly, the poet Emily Dickinson, known for her reclusive lifestyle, found in her solitude the space to craft her hauntingly beautiful and introspective poetry. But the solitary path of the wise is not without its challenges. In a world that often equates success and happiness with social status and external validation, the choice to live a life of solitude can be met with misunderstanding and even ridicule. The wise person must have the strength of character to withstand the judgments and projections of others, and to remain true to their own inner compass. Moreover, the solitary existence can, at times, be a lonely one. Even the wisest among us are human, with a natural longing for connection and understanding. The key, however, is to find a balance between solitude and engagement, to cultivate meaningful relationships with those who share a similar depth of spirit, and to recognize that true fulfillment comes from within. As we explore the enigma of the solitary sage, I invite you to reflect on your own relationship with solitude and introspection. Have you ever felt the call to retreat from the world, to delve into the depths of your own being? What insights and wisdom have you gleaned from your moments of solitude? In the next part of this video, we will further examine the practical implications of embracing solitude and the cultivation of wisdom in our lives. The Sanctuary of Solitude, Cultivating Wisdom in the Quiet Spaces. As we continue our exploration of the solitary sage, let us delve deeper into the practical aspects of cultivating wisdom through solitude. In a world that often valorizes busyness and constant stimulation, the act of carving out quiet spaces for introspection and self-discovery can be a revolutionary one. It is in these moments of solitude that we can begin to peel back the layers of our conditioning and uncover the authentic self that lies beneath. One of the key benefits of solitude is that it allows us to develop a greater sense of self-awareness. In the absence of external distractions and the opinions of others, we are forced to confront ourselves honestly and directly. We can observe our thoughts, emotions, and patterns of behavior with a clarity that is often obscured by the noise of daily life. This heightened self-awareness is the foundation upon which wisdom is built. Through solitary practices such as meditation, journaling, and contemplation, we can begin to cultivate a deeper understanding of our own minds and the nature of our existence. We can learn to observe our thoughts and emotions without judgment, recognizing them as transient phenomena rather than immutable truths. This practice of non-attachment allows us to develop a sense of equanimity and resilience in the face of life's challenges. Moreover, solitude provides us with the opportunity to question our assumptions and beliefs, to critically examine the narratives that shape our perception of reality. In the quiet spaces of our own minds, we can engage in a process of unlearning, shedding the limiting beliefs and conditioned responses that keep us trapped in cycles of suffering. This can be a deeply transformative process, one that requires courage and a willingness to step into the unknown. As we cultivate wisdom through solitude, we may find that our priorities and values begin to shift. We may find ourselves less concerned with the pursuit of external validation and more attuned to the quiet satisfaction of living in alignment with our deepest truths. We may begin to see the inherent interconnectedness of all things, and to recognize the ways in which our actions and choices impact the world around us. This shift in perspective can be a catalyst for profound personal growth and transformation. It can lead us to make more conscious and compassionate choices, to live with greater integrity and purpose. It can also inspire us to share our wisdom with others, not through grandiose gestures or self-aggrandizement, but through the quiet power of our presence and the authenticity of our being. Of course, the path of solitude is not without its pitfalls and challenges. There is a fine line between healthy solitude and isolation, between introspection and self-absorption. It is important to remember that wisdom is not a solitary pursuit, but one that is enriched by the insights and experiences of others. Even as we cultivate our own understanding, we must remain open to the wisdom of those around us and to the lessons that life itself has to offer. Furthermore, it is crucial to recognize that solitude is not an escape from the world, but a way of engaging with it more deeply and authentically. The wise person understands that true wisdom is not a static state, but a dynamic process of growth and evolution. They are not content to rest on their laurels, but are always seeking new ways to expand their understanding and to apply their wisdom in service of the greater good. This brings us to the question of how we can integrate the insights gained in solitude into our daily lives and relationships. How can we bridge the gap between the depth of our inner world and the demands of the external world? The answer lies in finding a balance between solitude and engagement, between introspection and action. One way to achieve this balance is to cultivate a sense of mindfulness and presence in all our interactions. By bringing the same level of attention and care to our relationships that we do to our solitary practices, we can infuse our lives with greater meaning and purpose. We can learn to listen deeply, to speak from a place of authenticity, and to act with compassion and understanding. Another way to integrate the wisdom of solitude into our lives is through the practice of service and contribution. By using our insights and understanding to make a positive impact on the world around us, we can bridge the gap between the personal and the universal. Whether through volunteering, activism, or simply being a kind and supportive presence in the lives of others, we can find ways to share our wisdom in a way that uplifts and inspires. Ultimately, the path of the solitary sage is one of continual unfolding, of ever-deepening understanding and ever-expanding compassion. It is a path that requires patience, perseverance, and a willingness to embrace the unknown. But for those who are called to walk this path, the rewards are immeasurable. A life lived in alignment with one's deepest truth, a sense of purpose and meaning that transcends the fleeting concerns of the ego, and a profound connection to the greater web of life. As we continue to explore the depths of wisdom and solitude, I invite you to reflect on your own journey of self-discovery. What practices and habits can you cultivate to create more space for introspection and self-awareness in your life? How can you integrate the insights gained in solitude into your relationships and your engagement with the world? In the next part of this video, we will examine some of the practical tools and techniques for cultivating wisdom through solitude, and explore the ways in which this ancient path can be adapted to the challenges and opportunities of the modern world. The alchemy of solitude, transforming isolation into illumination. As we delve further into the realm of solitude and its role in the cultivation of wisdom, it is important to acknowledge that the path of the solitary sage is not a one-size-fits-all approach. Each individual's journey is unique, shaped by their own temperament, life experiences, and spiritual inclinations. However, there are certain practices and principles that can serve as guideposts along the way, helping us to navigate the challenges and opportunities of the solitary path. One of the key practices for cultivating wisdom through solitude is the art of mindfulness. Mindfulness is the practice of bringing our full attention to the present moment without judgment or attachment. It is a way of tuning into the subtle nuances of our inner experience and of developing a greater sense of clarity and equanimity in the face of life's ups and downs. Through mindfulness meditation, we can learn to observe our thoughts and emotions with a sense of detachment, recognizing them as transient phenomena rather than absolute truths. We can begin to see the ways in which our mental patterns and conditioning shape our perception of reality, and to develop a greater sense of flexibility and adaptability in our responses to life's challenges. Mindfulness can also be applied to our daily activities and interactions, bringing a greater sense of presence and intentionality to everything we do. Whether we are engaged in work, play, or relationships, mindfulness allows us to approach each moment with a sense of freshness and curiosity, rather than being caught up in habitual patterns of thought and behavior. Another important practice for the solitary sage is the cultivation of self-compassion. In a world that often emphasizes self-criticism and perfectionism, self-compassion can be a radical act of love and acceptance. It involves treating ourselves with the same kindness and understanding that we would extend to a dear friend, even in the face of our own flaws and mistakes. Through self-compassion, we can learn to embrace our own humanity, to acknowledge our own suffering and struggles without judgment or blame. We can begin to see our own journey of growth and transformation as a natural part of the human experience, rather than a personal failing or shortcoming. Self-compassion can also help us to develop a greater sense of empathy and compassion for others. As we learn to extend kindness and understanding to ourselves, we naturally begin to extend that same compassion to those around us. We can see the ways in which we are all interconnected, all struggling with the same fundamental challenges and desires. In addition to mindfulness and self-compassion, the solitary sage may also find great value in the practice of contemplation and reflection. This involves setting aside time each day to simply sit with our own thoughts and feelings, without any agenda or goal in mind. It is a way of creating space for insight and understanding to arise naturally, without forcing or striving. Through contemplation, we can begin to see the bigger picture of our lives, to understand the patterns and themes that have shaped our journey thus far. We can also begin to ask deeper questions about the nature of reality, the meaning of existence, and our own place in the grand scheme of things. Contemplation can also be a powerful tool for problem-solving and decision-making. By taking the time to sit with a particular issue or challenge, we can often gain new insights and perspectives that were not immediately apparent. We can learn to trust our own inner wisdom, rather than being swayed by external opinions or pressures. Of course, the path of solitude is not always an easy one. There may be times when we feel lonely, disconnected, or lost in the vast expanse of our own minds. It is important to remember that these feelings are a natural part of the journey, and that they too can be a source of insight and growth. In those moments of darkness and doubt, it can be helpful to reach out to others who are walking a similar path. Whether through online communities, spiritual groups, or one-on-one connections, finding a sense of shared understanding and support can be a powerful antidote to the isolation of solitude. It is also important to remember that solitude is not an end in itself, but a means to a greater end. The ultimate goal of the solitary sage is not to retreat from the world entirely, but to develop a deeper sense of connection and service to all of life. As we cultivate our own wisdom and understanding, we naturally begin to see the ways in which we can contribute to the greater good, whether through our work, our relationships, or our simple presence. Ultimately, the path of solitude is a path of transformation, of turning inward in order to more fully engage with the world around us. It is a path that requires courage, patience, and a willingness to embrace the unknown. But for those who are called to walk this path, the rewards are immeasurable. A life lived in alignment with one's deepest truth, a sense of purpose and meaning that transcends the fleeting concerns of the ego, and a profound connection to the greater web of life. As we continue to explore the alchemy of solitude, I invite you to reflect on your own journey of transformation. What practices and principles resonate most deeply with you? How can you create more space for solitude and introspection in your own life, while still remaining connected to the world around you? In the final part of this video, we will explore some of the ways in which the wisdom of solitude can be applied to the challenges and opportunities of the modern world, and how each of us can find our own unique path to illumination and awakening. The wisdom of solitude in a world of connection. As we come to the final part of our exploration of the solitary sage, it is important to acknowledge the unique challenges and opportunities of cultivating wisdom in the modern world. We live in an age of unprecedented connectivity, where the boundaries between solitude and social interaction are increasingly blurred. With the rise of social media, instant messaging, and 24/7 news cycles, it can be difficult to find the space and stillness necessary for deep introspection and self-discovery. At the same time, the pressures and demands of modern life can make the path of solitude feel like a luxury that few can afford. In a world that often equates busyness with success, and where the pressures of work, family, and social obligations can feel overwhelming, carving out time for solitude and self-reflection can feel like a daunting task. Yet it is precisely in these moments of pressure and overwhelm that the wisdom of solitude becomes most essential. By creating space for stillness and introspection, we can begin to gain a greater sense of perspective on the challenges we face, and to access the inner resources and resilience needed to navigate them with grace and wisdom. One way to incorporate the wisdom of solitude into our daily lives is to establish regular rituals and practices that allow us to disconnect from the noise and distractions of the external world. This might involve setting aside a few minutes each day for meditation or contemplation, taking a daily walk in nature, or simply turning off our devices and allowing ourselves to be fully present in the moment. By creating these small pockets of solitude and stillness, we can begin to cultivate a greater sense of inner peace and clarity, even in the midst of the chaos and uncertainty of daily life. We can learn to tap into the deeper wisdom and intuition that lies within us, and to trust in our own ability to navigate life's challenges with grace and resilience. Another way to bring the wisdom of solitude into the modern world is to approach our social interactions and relationships with a greater sense of mindfulness and intentionality. Rather than getting caught up in the surface-level chatter and distractions of social media and casual conversation, we can learn to bring a deeper level of presence and authenticity to our interactions with others. This might involve setting aside dedicated time for heart-to-heart conversations with loved ones, or making a conscious effort to listen deeply and attentively to others without judgment or agenda. It might involve cultivating a greater sense of empathy and compassion for those around us, recognizing that everyone is fighting their own battles and struggling with their own challenges. By approaching our relationships with this sense of mindfulness and intentionality, we can begin to bridge the gap between the depth of our inner world and the demands of the outer world. We can learn to bring the wisdom and insight gained in solitude into our interactions with others, and to create a greater sense of connection and understanding in all our relationships. Ultimately, the path of the solitary sage in the modern world is one of balance and integration. It is not about retreating from the world entirely, but about finding ways to bring the wisdom and insight gained in solitude into our daily lives and relationships. It is about learning to navigate the challenges and distractions of the modern world with a greater sense of inner peace, clarity, and purpose. Of course, this path is not always an easy one. There will be times when the pressures and demands of daily life feel overwhelming, and when the call of solitude and introspection feels like a distant dream. In those moments, it is important to remember that the journey of self-discovery and transformation is a lifelong one, and that each step along the way is an opportunity for growth and learning. It is also important to remember that we are not alone on this path. While the journey of the solitary sage is ultimately a personal one, there are many others walking alongside us, each with their own unique challenges and insights to share. By reaching out to others who are on a similar path, we can find a sense of support and community that can help sustain us through the ups and downs of the journey. Ultimately, the wisdom of solitude in the modern world is about learning to trust in the deeper wisdom and resilience that lies within each of us. It is about learning to navigate the challenges and opportunities of life with a greater sense of inner peace, clarity, and purpose, and about bringing that wisdom and insight into all our relationships and endeavors. As we come to the end of this exploration of the solitary sage, I invite you to reflect on your own journey of self-discovery and transformation. What does the path of solitude and introspection look like for you in the context of your own unique life and circumstances? How can you begin to incorporate the wisdom of solitude into your daily life and relationships in a way that feels authentic and meaningful to you? Remember, the journey of self-discovery and transformation is a deeply personal one, and there is no one-size-fits-all approach. Trust in your own inner wisdom and intuition, and allow yourself to be guided by the deeper truths and values that resonate most deeply with you. Embracing solitude in the modern world takes courage and commitment, but the rewards are immeasurable. By learning to cultivate a deeper relationship with ourselves and the world around us, we can begin to access a wellspring of wisdom, resilience, and compassion that can transform not only our own lives, but the lives of those around us as well. As you embark on this journey of self-discovery and transformation, know that you are not alone. The path of the solitary sage is one that has been walked by countless individuals throughout history, each with their own unique challenges and insights to share. By staying true to your own inner wisdom and trusting in the journey itself, you can begin to unlock the profound potential that lies within you, and to live a life of greater purpose, meaning, and connection. So go forth with courage and an open heart, and trust in the deep wisdom and resilience that lies within you. The path of the solitary sage may not always be an easy one, but it is a path that can lead to profound transformation and awakening, both for ourselves and for the world around us.